You had
I wanted to go back to
yeah,
something
go
because
ahead.
I think I was being too flip, and it's short. But you asked me what drew me to this role, and I spoke more about the project itself. But I realized that, what I wanted to share was that I live my life in a certain way with bravery. And this woman that had been created by Robert and Benjamin, what I saw was that her life was based on fears. Fear of leaving the house, fear of losing your daughter, just fear, 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 fear. And as an actress, I was drawn to inhabiting that place of fear safely and portraying a character who was dealing with those emotions in a safe arena, because I couldn't act like that in real life. Didn't mean to interrupt, but
No,
I
it was great.
I didn't want to be glib.
It was great. Thank you. With Robert, you did, had to wear a number of hats. Like you directed, you co-wrote, you scored it. It's your first directorial film. Was there like a lot of inspiration there? That's wearing so many hats. Like, is that?
Got one right on right
Yeah,
now.
right. You have a hat now, right?
Was it, like, what was that experience like? I mean?
Yeah, just that you're kind of you're a multi. They kind of call it in the business like a triple threat. Like you can do so much. Did that kind of propel you into wearing all those hats in this film? For this film?
Well, I think that there's a few takeaways from making this film, from my position, which was just having to do things to just get the movie made. And I think that other independent feature film directors who, if they were here now, they might say the same thing, which is, if you're going to spearhead something and you're going to pave that road, you just have to start doing it. And if something happens, if there's a hurdle, you just have to figure out a way over it. And they happen all the time. So you just end up doing more than maybe like that role in a book would say, like, this is what you do as a director, and that's a producer. Because I think nowadays, or maybe at the level of an independent feature, I just think that everybody has to do things that fall outside like the defined role that we're used to in a traditional setting. Because you don't have as many resources and you don't have as many people around you to carry that weight. So that's one thing. One thing is you just have to take on more to get the film made. And even in post, like, I'm recording ADR and I'm doing Foley in my house, so it's like, and that's okay, like, that's fine. I'm not, that's not something, I think it's good to do those things because you learn more about the process too. And I like to do, I enjoy touching things because it helps me understand how it works. And, but I also just have an interest in a lot of sides of this process, because even bringing the music, because I was writing and making records for a long time and touring, and that was a lot of my life. And now I got to make this film, this first feature film, which is something I've always wanted to do. It was just time to start doing it. And it was interesting just to try to take experiences from other projects to this. And there is a common sort of parallel to it, but there's also things that were so different. But I think where things do line up is that I love music. I love storytelling. Songs are like short films. Ultimately, you're just telling a story. And you do it with music, you do it with art, with photography, so many different types of creations. And I love the business side of how are we going to get this done is a really exciting thing because it's creative. And editing is a really amazing process. Just learning how to edit was exciting because it's so much like making an album today. So anyway, there's just a lot of things I really enjoyed about it. And it wasn't something that that caught me off guard. I just really enjoyed the next hurdle.
But that's a difficult question to ask him because he did it. But I will just say and have been the entire way, absolutely blown away by your ability to make things happen. And over and over and over again. Now, a lot of these questions that we've had while we've been promoting the movie, have involved coming from a family, which I wasn't even aware of until the Q&As started. And there's an argument that it's about who you know, and oh, it must be easy if you come from that kind of family to get a movie made. It's not at all, and Robert fought every step of the way to get this movie made. On top of that, just the vision that you created in writing a script, panning it out, creating something amazing that attracted all these people to come in, and I felt so passionate about what you had created. And then you speak about it in a way of, well, I just enjoyed writing a script. It's an incredibly difficult process that you're like really amazing at. On top of that, you played music in it. He's got an incredible band. And then he recut this entire movie, which is a very, like, over a long period of time, anybody will tell you that's an amazing feat to be able to take a movie, look at it, say, that was my baby. I took this from just an idea in my head and what I was relating it to, and I had to change the entire thing. And you were willing to do that. And so watching you has been incredibly inspirational, and like,
Tally is itching to say
Thank you.
something.
But,
You
yeah.
have something. Thank you.
I have to say this, the struggle, you know, to take a thing from a dream and make it happen, and all the steps and continue on. Robert really embraced that. He looked for that structure that would permit those finances to make this thing work. And it was, I have to say, he didn't ask for help, not, you know what I'm saying?
Favors.
He really...
He didn't ask for favors.
He didn't, boy, and I have, Robert, I have such respect because I know how hard it is.
I think all the actors on the film did. I think everybody that worked
We-
with
we know-
Robert
we know
had
how
that
hard.
respect, because we saw that he wasn't asking for anything for
And he
nothing.
wasn't a blamer. He was, okay, here it is, the buck stops here. How can I make this work?
It was always,
Let
how
me
can I
ask
make
you,
it work?
Talia,
How can I make it
because
work?
you've been in, you know, we know you for, you know, for really these iconic roles, and I know I'm a fan and a critic and know so much that you've done. But I really wanted to ask you about the iconic roles in The Rocky and The Godfather, and do you think those are roles
But
that
I
you're-
want to tell you about the iconic debt at the bank that my husband and I would do to make movies happen also before Robert was born. So there's a special respect I have because he, and I don't mean to not embrace the question you have about those roles, but I remember when your father wanted to get something on, and boy, the house was up again at the bank,
For
you
the
know?
mortgage, yeah.
Yeah.
But just because that's the way it was, and that's what we did, and so we, you know, I remember Jack said to me, so we lose everything, we'll just start again. And it was a healthy thing to say in a way, because we love movies. We love the way they're made. And one other thing, too, about this kind of filmmaking, years ago, Charlie Chaplin did this, and Buster Keaton did that. They were experimenting. Oh, what's that? Oh, well, that'll be sound, we'll add that gag. So this was watching that kind of exploration again, Robert.
So
And
the limitations, I think,
Well, always-
the limitations opened up the opportunities for creativity.
the way they
And,
did
you
before,
know,
years
yeah,
ago,
yeah.
yes.
Well, this ties into the next part of this interview, which is just in being around my mother as a kid, and people would talk about Rocky, and she would always say that she did her own when she created this Adrian role, she did her own makeup, and they would, you know, like they didn't have a lot of money to make that movie.
Yeah, I love my costumes.
So it's become an
I had that
iconic
hat.
film that we know is this huge like series, but the first one they made was made with very little money. And they all had to step in and do the things that we might not expect actors to do, which isn't as glamorous. But sometimes things aren't as glamorous on the other side. You know, we really only see it the way it's presented. The way these lights hit us is all we really know of us, right? But there's another whole world happening around it. And it was interesting to grow up with those stories, because in working on Dreamland, I felt like let's roll up our sleeves and let's do it. Like, what is that world? Let's explore it, and let's find people who want to do that with you, you know? So that's what it takes. You find people who want to play that,
Something
play with
wonderful
you.
can happen in those accidental moments of where creativity might just be.
Those obstacles, though, do open up a lot of cool ideas
Yeah.
and change the story.
And a lot of sleepless nights as well.
Well, you
Like-
guys are great. I love the film. Honestly, heartfelt. I love the film. I watched it twice.
Oh, cool. Oh,
First
thank
to
you.
watch it because I knew how to talk to you
Yeah.
and be the critic, and second
Right.
just because I enjoyed it and I wanted
That's
the
awesome.
experience.
That's
as
really,
well.
Thank you.
really
So
appreciate
great
that.
job.
Appreciate
and
it.
That's
love
awesome.
your involvement, and thanks for being here.
Yeah,
Thank you so
you.
much. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Whoa. One little thing, even if it doesn't make the cut, but you know, going back to Robert permitting his mother to be playing the mother. Mothers can be terrible critics, right? And for me to and Robert created this moment where he did want to respect my ideas, but at the same time, Robert, I knew I could not bring that mother's critic to the set. Thank you for that, because that was not, you know.
I think that's a fabulous ending to our interview.